sledgehammer to. The entire energy production infrastructure across the board is getting whacked by this bill, to the point where ExxonMobil is like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, this is really bad.
And lastly on that, speaking of the big, beautiful bill, Elon Musk is making an even, we'll say, a harsher break with Doge and the Trump administration. He's going to be on CBS Sunday Morning this week, and so teasers that have been released show him saying that he fleshes out his point about how the big, beautiful spending bill undermines Doge. He's recently said he feels like the Trump administration's, or that Doge became the Trump administration's whipping boy, so we will have some updates on that front as well.
Yeah, kind of sad that the moment that Musk says something decent is also the moment that he's totally lost all his juice.
You're about to buy more Teslas again.
Yeah, yes, buy it. I'm long Teslas all of a sudden.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let's start with the news about student visas. We can go ahead and roll this first element. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was in a cabinet meeting with President Trump yesterday, and a cable had leaked saying that the administration was pausing student visas as it prepared a social media vetting system. And we've covered news about the social media vetting system here. You've probably seen this in the student visa controversies that, the administration was citing social media posts, but also was citing its new efforts to do mass data scrapes for these social media posts. It appears that this is culminating in what is it's said to be a temporary pause in all student visas. There are more than 1 million students on student visas as of this school year. So here's Secretary of State Rubio explaining the policy yesterday at the White House.
So when we identify lunatics like these, we take away their student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa. The press covers student visas like there's some sort of birthright. No, a student visa is like me inviting you into my home. If you come into my home and put all kinds of crap on my couch, I'm going to kick you out of my house. And so, that's what we're doing with our country, thanks to the president.
All right, Ryan. So again, more than 1 million students that are going to be affected. 30% of Harvard, roughly. We have Trump talking about this as well, but we can put the tear sheet up on before we get to Trump. This is A2, an Axios story on the policy, but it is about 30% of Harvard students. Some schools have massive foreign student populations for reasons we can get into. They can pay generally full tuition, so it's helpful on that front. But also, we've long been a magnet, obviously, for the world's top talent. American higher education has. Now, people don't always stay here, but many do. And a lot of great American companies were founded through people who came here for school and stayed, and then created some amazing stuff in the United States. Here's Donald Trump from over the weekend talking about student visas. This is A3.
Part of the problem with Harvard is that there are about 31%, almost 31% of foreigners coming to Harvard. We give them billions of dollars, which is ridiculous. We do grants, which we're probably not going to be doing much grants anymore to Harvard. But they're 31%, but they refuse to tell us who the people are. We want to know who the people. Now, a lot of the foreign students we wouldn't have a problem with. I'm not going to have a problem with foreign students, but it shouldn't be 31%. It's too much, because we have Americans that want to go there and to other places, and they can't go there because you have 31% foreign. Now, no foreign government contributes money to Harvard. We do. So why are they doing so many? Number one. Number two, we want a list of those foreign students, and we'll find out whether or not they're okay. Many will be okay, I assume. And I assume with Harvard, many will be bad.
And lastly, let's toss this clip of an international student at Harvard discussing the climate for international students right now.
There are very few international students who are even willing to speak to the media, who are willing to, just post something on social media or participate at a protest, because we've seen people have had their visas revoked for that reason, but also some examples of students who have been snatched off the street and put in detention centers in Louisiana. What the Trump administration is doing right now is a full-scale attack on free speech in this country. And we simply have to resist it, and we have to fight it with whatever means possible.
Given that climate that you describe and the persecution of some universities, would you feel confident, indeed would you be allowed to go on and maybe study a postdoctoral at another university?
I mean, I honestly don't know. very happy that I've made the decision to leave the country and that I don't have to live with this uncertainty. And I know that's how many international students are feeling right now. Because
So what would be your advice for people who might be watching who are thinking about a degree in the United States?
I think it's incredibly hard because I've had such a great experience here, and these have been the best 4 years of my life. So it would break my heart to tell anyone to not apply to Harvard or any other institution in the US. But frankly, I do understand that people think twice about coming here, because why would you apply to a university in America if you don't even know whether you will be able to finish your degree, if you can't study what you want, if you can't, speak out about political issues because you're afraid that you might be put in a detention center and deported? Then I truly understand why people are worried.
And so the Trump comments and the comments from that student came in response to, obviously, the administration's decision to prevent Harvard from accepting foreign students, period. That happened. We covered that on last Friday's show. But that was a decision that came last week from Kristi Noem, technically, because DHS oversees a vetting process, and they say Harvard is not complying with the vetting process, and then made a list of pretty wild demands, intentionally wild demands that Harvard wouldn't be able to meet about foreign students, and Harvard obtained a restraining order in court shortly after the administration came down with that decision. So, Ryan, right now, we don't have a lot of details about what this would look like, but it almost certainly is about Israel, because that's everything we've seen so far on the vetting.
Rubio was putting it in the same framework.
Yes.
That, look, it's a privilege to come here as a student, but basically he's saying if you're going to protest Israel, then we don't want you in the country. Now, the thing he said right after that clip, he's like, my wife and I want to announce something. What he says is he's just so proud that University of Florida's basketball team won a championship. 2 of their 5 starters are on student visas. One from Nigeria, one from Australia. The Australian is pulled himself out of the NBA draft. Alex Connaughton is going to go back to Florida, he said, but now maybe he won't. He's like, all right, forget it. I guess I'm going to go. Maybe I'll play in the NBA. If I'm not welcome here, I guess I'll go play in another professional basketball league somewhere else and make much less money.
They'll either vet all of the athletes first and be like, green light, you guys are fine, or they will just not even ever look at the athlete's social media.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, Joel Embiid, he's from Africa, but he has some French citizenship. The French wanted him to play in the Olympics for them, but he wouldn't because he didn't like France's kind of colonial approach to Africa. Are we okay with that? Like, tell us what you're allowed to say about foreign countries.
Right, and we have no idea how they're.
You can criticize France, right? I assume, although they're a very close ally of ours. But you can just make a list. What are the countries you can't criticize? Because you can criticize the United States, right? Like, that's okay. Is it Israel or is it just Israel?
Right.
Why don't we have Israel do the vetting? Like, why are U.S. taxpayers funding all of the kind of social media research to find out if these 17-year-olds said anything positive about Palestinians when it's for the benefit of Israel? Israel has all of this cyber tech. Just let Israel run our State Department and run our DHS. Like, and they can tell us who's allowed to come in the country. Like, why are we paying for that?
It's so.
I mean, we'll send them the money anyway. So I guess we're still paying for it. Never mind. I thought I was trying to help us. I can't figure it out.
It's like, in theory, I actually am not at all opposed to the idea. I mean, so what this is.
The U.S. vetting its students based on what they think about Israel?
No, I'm very opposed to that. In theory, I'm not opposed.
Wait a minute.
No. In theory, I'm not opposed to the idea of saying, okay, we should have a social media check of whether or not people are openly saying, like, Crystal and I interviewed this guy Mamadou Tall from Cornell. And if you went back and looked at his social media, as he was applying, he was talking about how awful the American empire is, et cetera, et cetera. But fine, that's a perfectly fair free speech argument to make. But is that someone you prioritize over another person who maybe actually loves the United States, wants the United States to be better, and is like deeply passionate about? There are a lot of people like that, and a lot of them come over on student visas and have great lives and productive lives in the United States of America and do make the country better. So I'm not like in theory opposed, so maybe we should be checking what people who have social media are saying in the context. But we have zero idea from the State Department right now about what they're looking